figuring out how to communicate to the Spanish audience. It's worth every single penny because it's being underutilized in a big way. How'd you get to me, Jose? How did that happen?
Let me remember. So I think I was on, I signed up for one of the Jeff Walker's PLF, and then I saw your ad on Facebook.
Okay, so
and
social media working, huh? Social media effectively working.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I never seen a Hispanic last name in this. You know, it's not very common to see a Hispanic name or last name in. Well, I guess nowadays it is, but back then it wasn't that common.
Yeah,
and
well, not as much, Jose. Not as much because we need to get more Latin people to become, you know, because there's a lot of talent. Like I was saying from my island, there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of power, there's a lot of great entrepreneurs, great artists from Mexico, from all over the place. I know, for example, there's a conference called the Traffic and Conversions Conference, which is once a year, which obviously COVID-19 changed everything. They were going to have the biggest one in history. It was going to happen in March in San Diego, California, 2020. And that was canceled right at smack in the middle of the whole COVID explosion. That conference had about, I think it's about 100 speakers, something like that, a lot of people. I was the only Latin speaker out of 100.
Wow.
Out of all these speakers that were stepping on the stage on this massive conference of marketers, business owners, I was the only one from Latin America, which was incredible. So there's still a lot more, like, there's opportunities. People like you, Jose, I mean, I think that the Latin world is heavily underserved. Especially like the US Latin population. People don't understand that there's 50 million human beings from Latin America in the United States living here. There's 2 million Puerto Ricans here, for example. I mean, if you look at Puerto Rico has 2 million people living on the island, and there's another 2 million people living off the island. And they're spread out throughout the United States, New York, Florida, all over the place. There's millions of Mexicans, millions of Colombians. I mean, there's a huge Latin American audience. So even if, here's a hot tip for anybody that's on the Social Marketing Hour, before we get into a little more details on Jose's business. If you have a business, and if you have the desire to find an opportunity in the world of business, figuring out how to communicate to the Spanish audience, it's worth every single penny because it's being underutilized in a big way. One thing that I can tell you about the Latin people in this world is that these people like to be talked to them. They don't want to be a part of the crowd. They want to be, the Latin people feel special and they feel connected. And if they are talked to in the same language with their same type of approach, like the way that they approach business or products or services, these people are going to be really interested in what you have to offer. So you have to just figure out how to communicate to them in their language, even if they are in the USA. Because one thing about the Latin people in the US, it's 50 million of them. They have credit cards, they have credit scores, they have money, they have stability, they have security. These people are qualified. In Mexico, there's 100 million people, but a lot of these people are not really qualified to buy your products. In Mexico, there's a lot more separation. There's poverty and then there's the wealth. There's not a lot of middle class. So because of that, you have a much smaller audience than you have in the United States. In the United States, 50 million people. Almost everybody is qualified to buy your products and services unless you have a high-ticket item, because these people are part of the United States culture and overall economy, which means that they're going to be making $40,000 a year or more, and that's part of their culture. And they have credit cards and they have credit scores and they can buy stuff. So something to keep in mind as a really hot tip in the world of social media. I haven't done it enough, Jose. The reason that I haven't gotten deeper into the Latin market myself is because I have been too busy with my content in English, and I started to tell you at the beginning of the webinar, of the Facebook Live, I started to tell you about how I started, because my first course ever was done in Spanish. By the way, that course is available on YouTube for free. I was selling it at the beginning. I'm going back 4 years now in my marketing career. I already had some success. My dad had accomplished some great results with my implementation. I was running the show on my own, and then I formed AGM Marketing. And the first thing that I did was I said to myself, I got to talk to the Latin people. I shortly afterwards, I realized that the American market, the US market, speaking market, was more ready to invest in social media than the Latin market. So I said, you know what? I'm going to just put that on hold until I'm ready in the future. And I started dedicating my time to English and doing content and courses. And that took off. And I started getting a lot of clients and a lot of people that were reaching out to me because they wanted the help. Because the US population, English-speaking people were more like, okay, I get it. There's a social media wave. I'm ready for it. Let me ride it. Manuel, can you help me ride the social media wave? So somebody like Dr. Berg came into my lines 3.5 years ago after I did that, and I have been helping him scale throughout the years aggressively. And then we have taken a lot of different brands along the way, and I stopped doing the Latin content. But it's the one thing that we can always know is that the US is like a time machine. You can utilize it like a time machine. What do I mean by that? You want to find out what's going to happen with the rest of the world? Just pay attention. What is happening in the USA? And realize that whatever is happening in the USA is going to happen around the world. It is inevitable. Technology gets developed here first and then exported.